Hey everyone, Eugene Kate Sith back again to go over this month's ambuscade. I did about, I want to say 15 runs on stream earlier, and I think I really refined the strategy. Before, my first video that I posted last night involved a Rune Fencer doing the DD, which while still workable, it just requires a really good Rune Fencer with like rank 15 Lionheart, and maybe not everyone has access to that. This is more of a foolproof method. A much easier method. I think basically most samurais could do this. You don't really need super amazing gear. I would just say you need decent gear, but most samurais should be able to do this. What it involves is, like the last video, you break the auras with crits. So the core, you want the core to do thief roll to add crit rate. Actually, I found a use for Koga. So I use AM3 Koga with some crit gear and then the crit buffs, and it's actually way better than using AM3 on Massa, because Massa will kill it too quickly even if you don't do any attack buffs. So on pull here, as you can see with how low the Rune Fencer's HP dropped, it's really important to sleep the Mega Boss right away on Bard. It's probably one of the most important aspects of the run, because the Rune Fencer can potentially just get one shot if you're not quick enough with the lullaby. First off, you do the Paladin because it can't be slept. You just crit it until the aura wears. The other method to do this without doing the crit method is doing skill chains. I covered that in my year-old video of Ambu. That's how I did it the first time they released this Ambu. But I would say the crit method is definitely the way to go this month. It is just extremely simple to pull off. Alright, when this NM uses Invincible, it will turn to just a random person. I think it's the person with the least amount of hate, which is usually my Geo, and it'll just melee them. So if your Rune Fencer is wondering why the hell they can't pull hate, it's because it's just a mechanic after it uses Invincible, where it'll just pick a random target. To speed this NM up, I cast Fury, just so weapon skills kill it quicker. And then make sure you take Fury right off. Next up is the Dragoon NM. The Dragoon NM will eventually eat its wyverns. It uses 100 Vis. It can be physically dangerous, so I use Indie Wilt on my Geo for this. You could throw in an in barrier just to be safe, but most Rune Fencers should be fine. Oh right, and then this aura is water and what's the other? Ice. Water and ice. As you can see, the auras break actually pretty quick doing the crit method, which is really nice. This is the Monk NM. Well, I guess the second Monk NM. It's a hybrid with a Bard. I use Bar Thundra just for this NM to prevent the stun. If you don't do Bar Thundra on the White Mage, the stun can potentially last up to 12 whole seconds. So it's really good to stack Ameva or and Bar Thundra for this NM. The next NM is the Black Mage White Mage hybrid. A couple of interesting notes about that one coming up. So it can cast Sleepaga, and it can cast Paralyze Ga and Silence Ga. So your White Mage needs to be prepared with Echo Drops, absolutely, and prepared to debuff people. It will cast Protect and Shell also, which is going to be important for the Mega Boss. You do not want to engage the Mega Boss until you remove its Protect and Shell. After the White Mage NM here uses Benediction, it will wake up the Mega here. And then a couple of notes once we get to the Mega. I guess I'll go over it now since I have time. But the Mega Boss has a white aura when it has its DT shield up, right? And breaking all the auras and killing the ads removes the DT aura. Now every 25% the NM will get a dark aura, which means it can Mijin at any once it finishes the elemental wheel. Now there's a couple of notes about the elemental wheel. If you continue damaging it while it has the dark aura up, it'll eventually build a white aura. It'll eventually get the white aura back, but it won't be at full potency, and it will slowly build to full potency. You can break the aura by either doing a light skill chain or a dark skill chain. I kind of don't think it matters at this point which one you do, but the important thing to remember about skill chaining is that it's like a seesaw. What I've noticed so far in my 15 runs is, and by the way, in those 15 runs, we haven't wiped to Mijin at all. So I think this is like a very solid method. There's not much room for error if you do it right. So like I was saying with Mijin, if you get it below the 25% threshold, so let's say you get it to 75%, it puts up the dark aura, and then you get it to 50%, but the aura is still up, but let's say it's 4 spells into the wheel. If you get it to 50%, it will reset the wheel, and it'll cast sound again. So it keeps resetting the wheel as long as you keep the damage, and that's why it's important to remember that the damage you do is a seesaw. As long as you don't do too much light damage, you can reset it with dark damage. The shield will either reset, or you will keep the DT shield low enough to where you can still keep damaging it and reset the wheel timer. Now, whenever it uses San here, you need a mage to quickly cast a spell that doesn't damage it, like Sleepka or Lullaby. Because if you cast a spell that damages it with magic damage, it will retaliate, most likely with a Charm DOT move, which is really bad. So whatever you do, do not cast a spell that does magic damage to it. Just stick to something like Sleepka. As you can see here, I just have my Geo cast Sleepka every time it does San. And I just alternate between a light skill chain and dark skill chain. I don't want to deal too much of either. So I would recommend, you can do a multi-step at the start. I like to do the 4-step darkness to apply a Geha. But after that, I just swap between light damage and darkness damage no matter what. And right here you can see it's on the thunder element, but it's going to reset. So the next element would have cast, see it's already on Dotan, but then it's going to cast San. And then the elemental wheel resets. So even though the aura's been up for a bit and it didn't go off, it just reset. And that does it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this updated guide